Now that you have a general idea of how to hold the cello, we're going to learn how to pluck the strings and also tune the cello. Tuning is something that you'll do every time you pick up your cello. You'll want to have a tuner app on your phone that you can use. There are a bunch that you can get for free on your app store. Once you've done your initial tuning, cellos typically stay generally in tune, but you always want to check to make sure that you're in tune. So first, let's go over how to pizzicato. We're going to set our thumb against the fingerboard, the side of the fingerboard. We're going to round out our index finger and just pluck each string. We're just kind of experimenting here. And you can tell that I'm out of tune. So I'll show you how to tune next. But I want you to just kind of experiment with what it feels like to pluck your string. Good. Now, how do you tune the cello? Well, we want this first note to be on the very left. This is the highest pitch note. We want this to be an A3. Sometimes on a tuner, you'll see the note. On my tuner, it says it's a G sharp, and there's a little number on the side that says 3, so we know we're close. G sharp is half a step away from A. If it were like a G or an F sharp, we'd want to tune with our pegs. Now, tuning with your pegs, typically I like to have the cello face me. I then use my thumb on my left hand to pizzicato. And when I turn the peg, I'm tightening the peg. So I'm lifting up to tighten. And when I'm turning my peg, I want to press in as I turn. Press in as you turn. If it's too sharp and you need to loosen it, you'll want to press in as you loosen as well. It's very common for the peg to slip and for it to become really flat. So we want to make sure that we're pressing in as we're turning. And you'll notice that the marker says that I'm to the left of the G sharp. To the left of the G sharp means that it's flat. If it were to the right, it would mean that it's sharp. If it's in the middle, that means it's what the note is saying. It's in tune. So I'm close enough to where I think I can use my fine tuners. Fine tuners are the tuners down here. And if you turn clockwise, you're making the string tighter. So you're tightening and making the note sharper. So as I pluck, I can pluck with my left hand and just let it ring out. Now it's a G sharp, so we need to go half a step above. So we're just going to tighten and tighten until I find that A. Now, if you're tightening and tightening with your fine tuner, you may run out of space. That's when you need to loosen it quite a bit, and then tune with your peg tuning. And then once you're close enough, then you can start using your fine tuners again. But we want the initial attack to be in the green, so have that towards the middle. And then sometimes it will fluctuate. It will go back and forth, but we want it to the initial attack to be pretty close in the center and it to kind of resolve in the center. That's looking pretty good to me. Now let's go, the next string over is the D string. And we want this to be a D3. You look at my tuner, it's saying it's a C sharp. Now that's half a step away, 2 flat, half a step away from D. So we're gonna try to use our fine tuners. If it were a C, I would wanna use my pegs. And then once I get it into the right ballpark, then I'll use my fine tuners. But we're close enough to where I think I can tighten on my fine tuners. And again, I'm going clockwise to tighten. Now, if I'm too sharp, meaning that it's too far to the right, often what I'll do is I will loosen it a little bit more than I need to, and then tighten it back up. Just helps it keep in tune longer when you're tightening it back up. So that's looking pretty good to me. Let's go to the next string over, which is the G string. We're looking for G2. So right now mine is saying F sharp 2. So we're just half a step away. So let's tighten it, going clockwise on the fine tuners. Making small adjustments. That's looking pretty good. Now let's go to the next string over, which is the C string. So we're looking for C2. Looking like it's a B right now. So let's bring it up to C. Once I have it in tune, I want to recheck, because when you make drastic changes to one string, it could affect the other strings. So I'm going to do a quick check to see if my other strings weren't affected. So one thing that I want to mention is that right now we're going to be using the tuners quite often. We're going to be looking at the tuners, relying on the tuners, using the visuals to see if we're sharp or flat. But I want you to actively listen to the note. What does that note sound like? And if it's too flat, how is sharpening it changing the note? How is it changing the frequency? I want you to pay attention to that. Because as you practice, as you do this more and more, that note's going to become more and more familiar to you. So you can start using your ear more instead of relying solely on the tuner. And tuning isn't always as simple as that. Sometimes your strings will give you a lot of trouble if it slips and it's really loose and you're having to tighten it. There can be complications. It is okay for you to go to a luthier and have them tune it up for you if you're really struggling. There's no shame in that. Just bring it to a luthier, have them tune it up for you, and then you're going to be able to use your fine tuners a little bit more, and you will, over time with practice, learn how to use your peg tuning and really just kind of refine that skill. But if it's giving you a lot of trouble, don't be afraid to reach out and have someone help you with that initial tuning. So now that we're in tune, we're gonna now on the next video learn how to tape the cello so we know where to place our fingers.